share a whole lot on Instagram, but the videos on YouTube, I'm still forgetting to share more about me. I've had some really fun tutorials and projects, and I can show, things that I've done. But a lot of you guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, don't know a lot about me. So my name is Andrea, and I have 4 children. I mentioned in last week's video, I am expecting number 5. My youngest is 6, my oldest is 12, so this one is a surprise baby and spaced out. We are pretty excited. We will find out if it's a boy or girl. We've done that with all of ours, so we can't wait to see. I have 3 boys and 1 girl. The boys are hoping for a girl, and my girl says it doesn't matter. I've got 3 brothers. What's another one? So she is just kind of, it doesn't matter to her, I guess. So I started quilting September. Okay, it's kind of a long story. I started quilting when my children were toddlers because I had made them receiving blankets, I had made them bibs, and then when they got too big for that, I still wanted them to have things that were handmade by mom. I'd watched Jenny from Missouri Star Quilt Company. I watched her tutorials for 2 years. I thought quilting was definitely not for me, and so what I decided to do was a Christmas quilt. Christmas is my favorite. So I just went to Joann Fabrics and got a bunch of fabrics and picked out, I think, like a 1/4 yard or 1/2 yard and cut them into 2-inch strips. And I essentially just sewed them together for my first toddler quilt. And then I did another like patchwork one that I kind of just made up, no real patterns. So my 2 then only children could have something handmade. I decided that I loved the idea of them having the quilts, but I didn't really quilt a whole lot until my 3rd one was born, and then my oldest 2 children wanted Halloween quilts. So I did some Halloween quilts, triangle patterns, without a tutorial, and it was just kind of a disaster. But it was fine for my 2nd quilt. In hindsight, I just didn't have the confidence then. We quickly added a 4th child, and so I just didn't quilt at all. I took a quilting break, you could say, for a couple of years, and then when my youngest was 18 months, I decided, you know what, I feel like we have time now. I feel like he's old enough and I can add quilting. I really wanted to try it again. We had actually been to Missouri Star Quilt Company twice, even though I wasn't quilting. When we went the 2nd time, I decided I'm gonna get 1 pattern and 1 jelly roll, and that's what I'm going to make. That was the first one I did. Well, I didn't know a lot about quilting, and so it gave me the finished sizes, and I did not know that the finished meant sewn in the block. So when I went to measure my blocks, they were all a 1/2 inch off, right? A 1/4 inch on either side. And so I thought, well, I better square them up. I've seen people do that before. So I trimmed them. And then when I sewed them into my quilt, every single star point was gone. And I was devastated. I saw that quilt top. I finished it before I noticed. And then I was ready to just throw it out because I am a very emotive person. And I was like, I can't believe it. I knew quilting wasn't for me. My husband encouraged me to stop, slow down, and just keep it for the night. He was like, it's a learning experience. You might feel different tomorrow. Don't throw it out. So okay. Next day I thought about it. You know what? I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to keep quilting. But before I even kind of was able to get to that point, I took the quilts in and I decided I needed to take some classes. So I took it into a local long armor. This was in Ohio. And I said, I need some beginner classes. And she asked, for who? And I said, well, for me. And she said, honey, you are not a beginner. Like, this was not an easy pattern. And I told her, but look at my points. They're all gone. And she said, so what? Like, that happens to experienced quilters sometimes, much less this being officially like the 2nd or 3rd quilt that I'd made. She said, you are a fantastic quilter. Just keep going with it. And that encouragement meant so much to me. It gave me like the, I don't know, oomph that I needed just to keep going. So from there, I started making more patterns. I made some from all the block magazines I've been keeping. I quilted for a couple years before I decided to start writing patterns because I started coming up with ideas. I loved seasonal patterns. I only did a few, and then I took a break because life just got busy with the kids' swim team and everything else. Well, come September, I'm trying to think when. I want to say, no, December 2019, maybe, or 20, can't remember, is when I released a Star Glass quilt. Actually, it was December 2020. I came up with my Star Glass idea because I wanted a scrap quilt to use all my Christmas scraps since I had made more Christmas quilts than any other quilt. And what I came up with, I loved, and I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to write a pattern and I'm going to try it again. And it's versatile because it can be Christmas, it can be anything. It's really just a fun quilt. And that was kind of like the start of pattern writing for me. It was my first big one, and it's just kind of grown from there. I never thought I would enjoy writing patterns, but I have, definitely. The whole creative process of it. And I am particular about what kind of patterns I like. And I am currently hosting the Gray Scrap Quilt Along, which I love because I'm just seeing everybody's take on my pattern, and it's been amazing to see. Also, getting to use my scraps has been awesome. I'm a little behind on that quilt along, but it's why I did it for a year, because I knew I would have so much going on. So that is kind of how I got started into this. I do it for fun, and it's turned into a business. But I still stay home with my 4 kids, and I homeschool them. So things aren't on a schedule. They're not perfectly consistent. I post when I can, and I blog when I can, and I film when I can. I also have lots of hobbies, so that kind of interferes with my quilting sometimes. I love to bake, and I love to cook, and I love to garden and home decorate. We moved from Ohio to Indiana in July, so I'm just putting my stamp everywhere in our house, and that takes time. But I decided, I'm not going to just abandon all those other things just for quilting. Those are such a part of me and an outlet in so many ways. So I share a little bit of all of that on Instagram. Not so much here yet. Because it's just pretty easy to just pull out my phone and be like, hey, here's what I'm making today for dinner. It has become quite a popular thing because I do love to cook, and I love to try new recipes all the time. And I'm a planner, so I'm always like, in the morning I figure out what I'm doing for the day, and then I can share the recipe. So that has been fun, watching people see that, and they'll message me and, hey, look what I'm making for dinner, it's what you're making. And I've met some really fantastic people from that as well. What else about me? Cross stitching has just become an obsession. Like so many of you, I just can't wait. I can't wait to see all the things I'll stitch, and Christmas is going to be number one, of course. Still, again, it's just what I love to do. And I think I'm going to have a whole lot of Christmas stitches. I haven't quite decided, once I get the ornaments done, I'll do a couple artwork. Like, what do you do with your stitch? Because I'm also odd in that I don't do wall hangings. I don't hang up my quilts. They're out for use. I have quilt racks. I have them on the sofa. I have them on beds. But I don't do display things because I really like neutral. I really like decor. I really want it to just feel not staged, but kind of like I have a specific way I want it to look, and I don't like having like crafty things on the wall. I know, it's weird. My husband is like, you should make the wall hangings, put them everywhere. I can't. I don't know. I haven't. So we'll see. Maybe cross stitch will be different. I do love how Susan Ake has done a whole wall of red cross stitch, and that's like her cross stitch wall. I think it looks fantastic. So that is a little bit about me. If you have any questions in the comments, let me know. I love the snow. That's been pretty obvious, right? Because I'm constantly filming when there's snow. It's just like my happy thing. Grew up in New Mexico, so not a lot of snow. And I love my seasons. I love the fall. A lot of my quilts are fall inspired. A lot of my quilts are home inspired. I kind of go through my spaces and just see, oh, a quilt would look good here, pulling from this pillow or bed scheme that I have going on, or curtains. And then I can kind of design that, what I want. So that has been a really fun, an additional creative outlet where it's like I get to create things matching for my own home. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's little chat and have a good week.